Today's quickly and widely developing world collaterally creates a lot of controversy, which without second thought needs to be accompanied by tolerance from the society for such phenomenon. Instead, I observe people and whole communities lagging behind the technological and cultural and so on progress, which seems to be hard to keep up with. We remain close-minded traditionalists, and such approach certainly prevents the progress from happening. Back in the 16th century, there was this absurd called Holy Inquisition as a result of blindness and intolerance of people in the Middle Ages. Christians would misinterpret and abuse the basics of their faith in order to persecute those of other beliefs, which turned out to be completely against the ideology behind Christianity. A few centuries ago, the deaf were considered unable to be taught communication, whilst let's just take a look around today when we have sign language, for example, not only. So if we start accepting and appreciating others as they are, who knows what great things we could come up with. There's this amazing man, Nick Vujicic, who is now 35 years old, and for 10 years he's been giving motivational speeches to people. And the curious thing about him is he was born with no arms or legs. One could think there's no solution for such disability. Well, let's first explain the difference between disability and handicap. The first one is a condition that limits our actions, whilst handicap is being deprived of the ability to function like an average healthy person. Nick, though, has never considered himself handicapped. Because it is one's choice whether one will be perceived as a handicap or try to deal with one's limits. In order to feel accepted in society, first you need to accept yourself and be in peace with your weaknesses. Although it may seem, religious minorities in our country are being looked down upon. So isn't this repeating mistakes from the past instead of making up for them? Here I call for action to catch a little glimpse on the countries, on Islamic countries, for example, when Christians are being brutally persecuted, and reconsider our own doings, as unless we learn tolerance, we will become our own nightmare. And since we have comparison, it should be easier to notice a bummer in our own deeds. Religion and disability are the two big subjects, but let's not forget the little mundane ones, such as differences among members of family, for example, or this visible generation gap, when where older generations tend to be conservative traditionalists, whilst youngsters are being taught leniency. I believe this is all about the age one was born in. In a family, parents are the ones who indicate rules that are to be obeyed, whilst in a larger community, it is law that reflects the approach of the society to some subjects. For example, 50 years ago, homosexualism in our country was illegal and punishable, whilst today we have discussions going on whether same-sex couples should have a right to adopt children just like traditional families do. So, do differences make us any worse or any better? Can we say that about Nick, who probably achieved more than an average person without his disability? No, I believe it is differences that merely make us interesting. And as long as a person does others no harm, it is really meaningful and significant for one to make his own path in the world. Besides, what boring of a world would it be if we were all the same? And what is more, if we differ among family members, then how can we expect to be similar as a nation? Further, I believe complete and utter acceptance cannot be achieved for all phenomena, as it is differences in our opinions, emotions, and perception that decide and indicate whether we accept something or tolerate it. And these differences are, thank God, indisputable. Thank you.